What's up, guys? This is Astrology Insights for the week, Mars style. I noticed something and I got really excited about it, so naturally, I wanted to talk at some length. In front of you, we have Katie Ledecky's chart. I hope you know who she is. If you don't, please Google her. But Olympic swimmer and swimming badass. So I don't remember who said it, but in an interview somebody said that basically male swimmers don't like to train with Katie Ledecky because she bests them, she surpasses them, she swims faster than them. And I don't know, like the world of swimming is one that I'm quite familiar with, but to swim at the level that Katie Ledecky swims and also that Michael Phelps swam at, it is a lifestyle. You are in the pool 5-6 hours a day. You are a machine and you are a monster just in terms of like muscles, strength, endurance, ability. It's unreal. And I mean, we see the records that Katie Ledecky has set. The top 20 are Katie Ledecky. So I can't say more that will impress you. I don't know how. But I saw her chart this week, and I'm sure you've watched all of my videos. Absolutely all of them, and you're hanging on every word that I say. I know that. You know that. Let's be honest. She has Mars retrograde, opposite the sun. I did a different video of someone else who has Mars retrograde, opposite the sun, also a Pisces. In fact, did that wrong. Simone Biles, look at the birth dates. March 14th, and March 17th. So Simone Biles is March 14th, Katie Ledecky is March 17th. Yeah. What are the odds that the two women who are maybe not the most notorious, but some of the most well-known women in these Olympics this year and revered as the greats in their respective sports are born within 3 days of each other? I just want to throw that out there. So like in my mind and in my way of perceiving astrology, I do not think that if you are born within several days of someone else that you have everything in common. So if we look at Simone Biles, her Mercury is in Pisces, whereas Katie Ledecky's is in Aries. That's a fast mover, right? Simone Biles, her moon is in Gemini. Katie Ledecky's moon is in Cancer, right? So, and by the way, we have a birth time for Simone Biles. We do not have a birth time for Katie Ledecky. They're not identical, but they are very similar. So it's, while there are some energetic things that are different, the drive is the same. And so Mars retrograde is really my focus. When you have a retrograde planet that is a quote-unquote personal planet, which those are Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Those are the personal planets that can be retrograde because the other two personal planets are the sun and the moon. And I like to joke that, someone has the sun retrograde, like that's impossible. But it's funny when you spend too much time looking at charts and someone is really messed up. You're like, oh yeah, moon retrograde. That's their problem. It's impossible, but it's funny. I'll laugh. Okay, personal planets that are retrograde. They are internal facing. So when you have Mercury retrograde, you may have problems expressing yourself outwardly or feeling like you are effective when you do so. When you have Venus retrograde, it's hard to make blanket statements about Venus retrograde. But the thing, because Venus is like values and money and love, but the people who I know who have Venus retrograde are some of the most blunt people And I love that about them. They're just very straightforward. So when they are relating to you, which is a Venus thing, they are very direct. But there are some of them, not all of them, but some of them. It really depends on how you're socialized, which is the other thing about Venus. They can have some serious hang-ups about relating to people, because it's almost as if they need to relate to themselves first before they can relate to you directly, because it's retrograde. It's an internal facing planet. So there are stumbling blocks for people with Venus retrograde. I'm sure I'll talk about it more at some point. But Mars retrograde is an internal facing energy system, right? So like what drives you, what powers you is you. It's this like need to prove yourself to yourself, competing against yourself, doing your best because you want to, but also if you are not motivated to do something, it's not happening. It's cool because you can see that with these two women who are amazing and outstanding. I'm sure that there's more and a better way that I could talk about Mars retrograde, but I can't think of, like, I feel like that's sufficient, although I'm going to take both of them away right now. There is one more gold medalist that I have found, and I haven't Googled that many charts or that many birth dates. Tara Davis-Woodhall, Mars retrograde, right here. And the interesting thing about that is it opposes Jupiter, and whenever you see Mars-Jupiter in combination, pretty much any combination, that can be explosive energetically. So I had fun Googling several people to get birth dates, and then I saw another Mars retrograde, and I was like, really, really talented / fast people who have Mars retrograde. I also want to note, this is a more female-centric video, but the most famous person who has Mars retrograde, maybe that's not fair to say, but given the ubiquity of Simone Biles right now, but the most famous person with Mars retrograde is Michael Jordan. So, food for thought, right? That man, when he talks about his beefs with people, especially in The Last Dance, I love the, like, and I took that personally meme. I use it. If you've been with me for a while, I refer to it a lot. He needed to create beef in his own head so that he could be a stronger competitor. You can see that of like, he needed to activate his own drives, and he needed to make it personal so that he could begin to like activate that ability to dominate, which Mars likes to do. Okay, so these are the people with Mars retrograde. I want to talk about one other thing that happened this week because it's current events, because why not? So I'll take Tara away. Bye, Tara. Congratulations. All right, back to Taylor Swift. This is a couple videos ago. I kind of previewed like something that was going to hit that has now hit, and now we know what it is, or at least the beginnings of what it is. Her Mars, like I said, this is a Mars-centric video, is opposed right now, like literally right now, by Uranus. So I'm going to give you the current sky. And again, these are not mathematically exact because I'm just keeping it as their actual charts and not accounting for precession, which means the movement of the galaxy solar system since birth. But this is exact right now. So Uranus passed this point right here, which is called the descendant, and this is how you relate to other people, and is now opposing her chart ruler. So Uranus and Mars in any combination, when it is a harsh aspect, which means conjunction, opposition, or square, and in my opinion, inconjunct, will mess you up. I had to... I'm trying not to say a swear word, but it's a kind of jolting energy where you could be easily freaked out, especially because this Mars is in Scorpio. So something is opposing her. Mars is in Scorpio. She's Scorpio rising. This is her chart co-ruler, and Pluto's the other one, because Pluto rules Scorpio. Having your chart ruler opposed by Uranus is something really unexpected, often scary, opposing you. Simple as that. If you're not incredibly famous, what this might look like is a setback, something you didn't see coming, an extremely stressful situation of some sort that just kind of jolts you, either out of a sense of complacency or kind of changes the narrative or the plot line, which we are seeing with her of, these huge stadium tours, and all of a sudden there's this terrorist threat, right? Like, super scary, really intense, and this is an energy that will be with her off and on for a year and a half. It is unlikely to remain the situation at present. It is unlikely to remain a looming terrorist threat. And Uranus is the ruler of her third house. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Mars also rules her fifth house because Aries is over there. So performance is a fifth house thing, and the third house is what you think about. So with Uranus, you can have some pretty intense mental hang-ups or repetitive thoughts when the third house is involved. That would be completely what would be expected. And it's just really important to note that when you have planets in the first house and something opposing them from the seventh house, or planets in the seventh house and transiting planets in the first house, it's a you versus them. So it's not likely to be a severely, intensely angry time for a year and a half, but it really does jolt you out of a sense of complacency and your ability to assert yourself, which is Mars. So it's am I effective in my ability to protect myself when it comes to Mars? And Uranus is nope, you really got to rethink that. It would not be out of the realm to be unable to relax. Just with Uranus crossing an angle, any angle, I don't care what it is, you're going to have sleep issues unless... I actually can't, unless you are the type of person who sleeps like a rock no matter what, you'll have sleep issues. So that is a little bit about what is going on there. So with Uranus entering her seventh house by transit, she'll have that, all the way up here, which Uranus, I believe, is about 6, 7, 8 years in a house, depending on how big the house is. It'll come back, it'll retrograde in about a month and then come back down into her sixth house for a while and then be in her seventh house for 7-ish years. And that's, I discussed that in the previous video, so I don't really need to get into it. But interesting, because I didn't know what form it was going to take. And it'll take more forms later, but this is a really obvious, really public event with a Mars theme. So I can tie it all together and justify it. And these are my thoughts. I definitely wasn't excited about this, but I was just oh shit. And then, of course, I went and checked where Uranus was, because this is frickin' textbook. It is actually textbook. So, hope you enjoyed this. The leaf blower in the background is driving me crazy, so I just needed to acknowledge that. I tried to find a time that would be quiet to do this, and when I listen to this, it'll probably just be a hum in the background, but please know, I got driven nuts. You know where to find me if you have questions, comments, concerns. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.